So, did you all get the new sheets for today? Jill, check your emails.
Oh,
Uh,
you sent another one? Okay.
I sent a new one, and
Oh,
one of them has your name on it.
oh,
Actually, the one I sent you has your name on it.
okay.
yes.
So, what
So
I'm
there's
doing
not
is
two.
no, everybody got one. All right. So Jack got A for Jack, Jill got B for Jill, etc.,
No,
etc.
I got
Catherine,
C.
Catherine and Genevieve are not going to be here today, so we'll pick them up tomorrow. But what I did was just simplify this, simplify it again. And what your page says is what you're going to be responsible for.
Oh,
So this one, for instance, says Jack. So he's going to get an hour, and he needs to do this entire thing: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Boom. Jill's the same thing. They're not exactly the same. So some people are doing certain things under gathering, other people are doing other things. So this reflects the choices we made. So we have I mean, in a way there's sort of an infinite number of ways you could do this, but I picked four different ways, covers all the different options. They're all exactly the same length or approximately the same length. And these will fit into an hour because I've done them before too. So what I want to do is we can start with Jack, and I think it goes Jack, Jill, Genevieve, and then Catherine, and we're gonna go in that order. But what I want to do, what we'll do today, is go through Jack's sequence here and make sure that he feels comfortable with it, that he knows all the different parts of this, etc., etc. Um, and then tomorrow, he's going to lead for that hour. I'm going to sit in a chair and make notes. All right. Then on Monday, we'll do the same thing for Jill. We'll look at Jill's thing. We'll go through it. We'll make sure she feels comfortable with all the different parts of it. She can ask all the questions she wants to ask. And then on Tuesday, she's going to get the hour and she's going to lead doing hers. All right. And we'll go through Genevieve and Catherine with that too. Jill, you look like you want to ask a question.
oh, um, well, I guess I have questions about what's in my list, but
Do
I
you
guess
have your list? Do you have
yeah,
your
it's
list?
it's I have it sitting right here.
Oh, well, excellent. All right. Well, why don't we wait with those until Monday,
Right,
just to keep these mentally clear.
sure.
And we'll go through Jack's today, and Jack's been doing this, so he may not have many questions. Who knows?
I have some
But,
questions.
but he does have some questions, right? Before we do that, I wanna show you guys something to explain at least one of the problems that I've been dealing with. Um, so take 2 minutes because I'm gonna have to send myself an email and then put this on a share thing. So hold on just a second. I should have done this before, but I didn't. All right, can you all see this? All right. These are the original Chinese names of the moves that we're doing.
They're
So
so intuitive.
this is one of the problems, and I'm obviously still working on it. But let's take number three, Sandan Kai Qigong. All right, literally, if you translate it literally, each of those syllables is a word. That's how Chinese works. All right, it means three pill collect, pluck, pick energy exercise. So 3-pill collect energy exercise. Right? How do you translate that, Jill, so that it makes some kind of sense?
Well, you have to know what's in the pill.
Exactly. The word Dan, D-A-N, the second word, San Dan, Dan, is the same Dan as in Dan Qian. So it's San Dan is a short way of saying San Dan Qian. 3 Dan Qians. Kai means to collect, to pluck, to pick. Energy exercise. All right? So the 3 Dan Qians collect energy, or collect energy to the 3 Dan Qians is the way I ended up translating it. How about number 4? Chen Yang Shui Shu Gong. Heaven Yang grab drop exercise. It's just pushing energy through the body. Okay, I just wanted you to see that. So Grandmaster Feng years ago published a monograph on this style of Qigong. And the reason I haven't given it to you guys is it's too confusing. It's like once you already understand everything, then it's kind of interesting to go back and read it. But if you just had to read it and like try to understand what he's talking about, nobody's going to understand it. And that's because the translation into English was done by a Chinese guy. And almost all Chinese translators don't speak English very well. So it's it's questionable to say the least, right?
Do you have the original?
I have a copy of the original and it's available as a PDF online. I am eventually going to give it to you, but I don't want to give it to you now because it just confuses everything.
Well, it's just a question of doing a new translation. Would you consider that? I have
Well,
ties into the.
I don't have the original Chinese.
Oh, you don't.
It's in
Oh,
English.
okay.
It's in English, and the translation was done by Chen Changhua, who speaks English much better now. He teaches up in Edmonton now. He's Chinese, but he moved to Canada, as did several other Tai Chi masters. Anyway, it's a valuable thing to have. It's interesting to read through it, but if you do not, any book about movement that is in a book is going to have some still pictures, and somehow you're supposed to be able to understand what's going on, right?
It's
So
like I found a book on push hands, and I was
yeah,
like, right.
honestly, I don't know why anybody ever put a book together about push hands. It's pointless. It's like trying to put a book together about dance. You gotta get out and dance if you want to learn how to dance. It's interesting to go read material written by masters, like for dance or this or that, but after you already know how to dance. And then you go listen to them and you go, oh, what's interesting is not the step-by-step instruction. What's interesting is their mindset. What attitude they're taking toward what they're doing and toward the music and toward their partners and toward the floor and everything they're doing. Oh, okay, that's interesting. It's exactly the same in Tai Chi. So reading Master Feng's monograph is interesting. You'll pick up some things. But if you don't have all the background first, honest to God, it's indecipherable. you have no idea what he's really talking about. Um, anyway, eventually I'll give it to you and you will be able to glean some stuff out of there, but only because you've had a lot of experience first in this. Um, anyway, let's go through Jack's sequence here. Um, and by the way, I just picked everybody's name out of a hat. I didn't consciously decide somebody should do this or somebody should do that. I just made up four different things. I had four names. I picked the names out of the hat, and Jack's was the first one that came up. All right, so
Was it a top hat with a rabbit?
I had to get the rabbit out of the way.
Just a
Go ahead.
question.
Yeah.
Does the letter designation, like, is Jack A?
No, well, I mean, he's only A in that I have four. There are four different sequences: A, B, C, and D. That's
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm C, so I'm thinking B is probably the second.
oh yeah. Who's B then?
I don't know.
B
Does
was
it say B on your sheet, Jill?
It says C on my sheet.
Oh,
okay. So Genevieve actually maybe is C. I'm sorry. I'll go back and look. I don't. In fact, I've got it here. Don't you?
Oh.
Yeah, B is Genevieve, C is Jill, and then Catherine is D. And again, it was just the luck of the draw as to who and what. Now, what I want to do is over the next couple of months is everybody's going to lead all four of those different sequences. All right, so this month, we'll do this. We'll go through this. Next month, at some point, I mean, we got to switch and do some other qigong here too. But at some point, maybe next month, we'll take a week and we'll just switch the cards around. People get a different name, and you'll lead that. They're 85-90%. They're the same. There's just a couple of changes between whatever. But I hope that by the time summer term is over, you guys will have each led each of these four variations, and you'll feel comfortable with the whole sequence and feel comfortable leading.
Mhm.
And then when you feel comfortable and are confident in what you're doing, then you can add some of your own stuff in too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah. So yesterday you went through with a little bit of expediting it through the full form. And I think it was what we had talked about is that we were going to come because I believe the full list takes a full hour. And what I'm wondering is if we could get one session where you do that list, and then if we could have access to that recording.
Oh, there's lots of versions of me doing the whole list
Sure.
on the YouTube channel. So just go look at those.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I sometimes don't do one or I don't do another, but
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's the privilege of rank, right? Are you wanting to are you
well,
wanting to have something to look at for different moves?
yeah, it's basically because I get confused on some of the moves as to what exactly, it's just like what kind of Lee circle is this? It's just like
That's why, as I just said,
yeah,
so for instance, today we've got half an hour here. I'm going to go through this whole list with Jack and
right.
make sure he's comfortable with it. And
Okay.
then he's going to lead tomorrow. And then I'll do the same for you.
Okay.
And you'll have that and you'll have that as a recording.
Right. Yeah.
And there will be no confusion.
Well, this is a different question, but
Yeah.
with YouTube, if I pay for YouTube and I save that video, even if you take it down from your, will I be able to save it? Do you know?
Are you talking about if you download it? Oh, if you just save it like to a playlist?
Yeah.
If you save it to a playlist and I take it down, you will not have access to it. So there's two things. There's one thing that you can do. Supposedly, you can download these to a download file on YouTube. Now, will that be there
Original.
if the original is gone? I'm not sure. I would think if they're going to call it download, yes, it should. The other thing you can do, and I can send you a link to this, there are a number of apps out there, most of which have, like a lot of software, have sort of a free level where you can download any video on the internet to your computer. So you
Okay.
will have it permanently. And, you know, so I'm starting to play with
Right.
that a little bit. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Um, but gee, there must be like 600 videos on our channel, and
Well,
some of them are
a lot of
outrageous.
the stuff that I have watched periodically have been taken down. So it was like,
I did take a bunch down about a month ago,
okay.
but I think there is still I think there's still a number of these up there.
Okay.
If not, let me know and I'll put some more up.
Okay.
But you know, like I said, we're gonna take the time to go through this for everybody, so it should not be a problem.
Sure. Yeah.
I hope.
I was just,
Okay, Jack. Um, why don't we just go through this whole sequence here? We got half an hour, and I'll
Do we
just
just shorten it, like shorten each one so that,
well, yeah. So there's one good question, guys. So I'm just going to hold Jack's sequence up, but Jack's sequence is essentially everybody's essentially the same. There's a couple of minor little variations between the different options, but they all end up being roughly the same length. If you really have an hour, 60 minutes, you should not have any problem going through this whole thing. The the way to do these is to do each exercise 9 times. Each part of each exercise 9 times, right? So if I'm doing gathering yang from heaven, one, one, two, two, and you just go up until you've got to 9, and then while you're meditating, you do nine of your own breaths, right? If you're doing all three, the upper, the middle, and the lower, right? One, one, two, two, up to 9, and then one, one, two, two, up to 9, and then one, one, two, up to 9 again. So you're going to end up doing it 27 times for that particular move because you've got 3 different positions. Now, if you feel, keep your eye on it. You got to have a clock available so you can watch. If you feel like you're starting to fall behind, then there's 2 things you can do. One is shorten up your meditation time. So instead of standing and just breathing naturally up to 9 breaths, just do it to 5 breaths. That'll probably save you a minute right there. And if you multiply that times, half a dozen or a dozen moves, it ends up being 15 minutes. So that'll help. The second thing you can do, and I often do this in the class just because we end up doing a lot of talking. So I'm going to suggest to everybody, you don't talk. It's not a teaching class, it's a practice class. The only place you might want to talk is at the end where some of the moves, the change from forward to backward or left to right might be difficult for your audience to see. And there you might call out reverse, right? So, reverse. It's the only thing you say. That'll save you some time. If you really start getting pressed for time, then instead of doing every exercise 9 times, do it 7 times. And that'll save you about a little bit, around about a third of your time, right? But one of the reasons to do this is to acquaint you with the whole process, the whole routine. And when you are leading, you have a little bit of a spotlight on you, and so you're going to be more aware of the routine. The second thing is to throw you in the deep end of the pool. How do you fill up an hour? If you're leading a class and it's supposed to be 60 minutes long, then it needs to be 60 minutes long. Not 70 minutes and not 50 minutes. It needs to be around 60 minutes. So the only way to do that is just to develop a feel for it. You just develop a feel. So, it's kind of like, Jack, I'm sure you've had this experience. You're in a show, or something is going on. Maybe you're in a competition, and you go out to dance, and the stage manager, just as you go out, the stage manager says you don't have 5 minutes, you've got 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Right? You've got to cut your routine back by 30 seconds, because they're going to close the curtain at 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
It's actually worse if they say you have 10 minutes and you have nothing prepared.
or stretch it out, right? But that's the truth. That in the theater, that kind of stuff happens. So suppose you've developed a 5-minute routine, and the stage manager says, what do you do? You've got to come up with something. You've got to create something, all right? And it's supposed to look seamless, so the audience doesn't know that you're sweating. You know the saying, Jill.
Don't let them see you sweat.
Never let them see you sweat. So the best way to do that is you just do this over and over, and after a while you get a feel for it, and you realize, by the time you're halfway through, gee, I've actually been moving too quickly. I'm gonna end up ending 10 minutes early, so I'm just gonna slow down. All right? Maybe instead of doing everything 9 times, I'm gonna do it 12 times. All right? Maybe instead of doing this to 5 breaths, I'm going to increase it to 9 breaths, or maybe just the opposite. But you just develop a feel for that. So
you just have to practice it, because it's very unlikely you're going to do it and the first time you're going to end right on the money. It's just not going to happen.
Except kind of by chance.
Totally by chance.
Totally by chance.
Unlikely.
But unlikely. Well, this routine, I think this is a solid routine. I didn't try to make this up to fit a certain time. I made this up for what I know is a good, solid routine, and it more or less fits pretty comfortably into an hour, because this is the routine that I do. All right, when I'm leading. So I know this is roughly that. However, you still have to know what pace this is at. And the only way to know that is just to get on the horse and ride. And Jack, you're right. You may get to move number 10, and there's no more time for 11 through 16. Well, now you know. It's not from my point of view, there's no right or wrong. There's just having the experience and then feeding that into your system, and now you're going to have a better feel for what you need to do next time. And after you've done this 3, 4, 5 times, you're going to feel much more comfortable with it. And the only way to do that is just to do it. That's one thing about Qigong and Tai Chi, and I know it kind of bugs a lot of Americans. You can't think it out ahead of time. You can learn it. You can have all these learning classes where the instructor talks so much and does this and that. Now, I try to be helpful, but the truth is you got to do it. And then you got to do it again and again and again and again until you get comfortable with it. And I'm sure, Jill, I don't know whether you know, but Jack is a tap dancer.
Was.
Was. All right. Well, I wasn't going to say it, but was a tap dancer. And tap is a real art. It's just like Tai Chi and Qigong. You don't just casually walk in and start tapping. You're going to have to study this and practice it for years to get decent at it.
Okay, I'm going to give you a little. I actually was tap dancing when I was younger because my grandmother was a tap dancer. So she would teach me, and I know the kickball chain.
There you go.
So I have a taste of it.
Nice.
I would never actually call myself a tap dancer, but I have utmost respect for tap dancing as an art. Yes.
That kind of background in dance or any similar background, gymnastics, things like that, are wonderful to bring into Tai Chi and Qigong because you have so much experience with your body already. A lot of people have no experience. Not only no dance, no gymnastics, no nothing. Right? No golf, no softball, no maybe walking is probably about it, right?
There's also
Well, I'll tell you, I did it over 20 years, and
Yeah.
I was basically kind of intermediate. I was like, okay, not
But
great.
But you had a lot of fun, and
I did.
that's the point. But Jack, that insight, that 20 years of hard work and experience only brings you to the intermediate level.
Yeah.
That's exactly true in Tai Chi and Qigong. You can work your ass off for 20 years and kind of be at a middle level.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if you start when you're 7,
Right.
and your grandpa is a Tai Chi master, you might make. I mean, that's all the masters that are out there. That's exactly what they did. They started when they were 7 years old.
Yeah, the kids that started at 7 tapping became
Yeah.
professionals.
Yeah. Yeah. And Annie's yelling they did other things. Anyway, to start Tai Chi and or Qigong in middle age is a little bit of a challenge, but you just have to be realistic about it. Master Fung would always say, one of my heroes, my heroines, I think I've shown you her picture, is Madame Gao Fu. She didn't even start Tai Chi till she was 55. And her form was beautiful.
But she probably also practiced 10 hours a day.
Yeah, well, she's a complete fanatic.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you need to do. She would practice 6 hours a day, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening. every day, and she was retired at 55, so you know, she had the time to do that, um, and she had Master Feng as a teacher. All right. She had another master, but he passed away. Before he passed away, he sent a letter to Feng and said, "I have this woman named Gao Fu, who is truly a dedicated student. Would you consider taking her on? I'm leaving. All right. Would you consider taking her on when I'm gone?" And he said, "Of course." So, fine. And so Gao Fu came and worked with Master Feng a couple of times, and then Feng said, "I tell you what, anytime you want to meet, you call me, tell me, and we'll meet that Sunday in the park here," because he hung out in Deton Park. That was his training thing. And so for years, she would call him, and she trained with him. The first time I saw her picture was on the cover of Tai Chi magazine, which hasn't been published in 10 years or so because the publisher died. But it was the magazine back in the day. And I would always pick it up at this little newsstand in San Francisco. And I picked this up, and there's Gao Fu standing there in a pose, right? So she's standing there like this. And I took one look at her and said, "That is a student of Master Feng's." I could tell because of her body composition was so beautiful. It was so relaxed, but so strong. And I opened up the magazine to that picture, and it says, "Madame Gao Fu, a student of Feng Zhixiang." Right? So once you get into this more and more, you can tell whether you can tell who somebody's master has been, because you're going to see the master in that person's confirmation. Anyway, Jack, we've only got 12 minutes left here. Let's just go through this really quickly. So the warm up routine, is there anything in that routine that is questionable for you?
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure that the exact sequence. So this is kind of what I have in my mind. I'll shorten this. I
Okay.
have this, and then I'm tapping here, and then tapping here, and then is the next one this?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then am I coming down like this?
Right.
And
Right.
then like this? And then
Yeah.
we go like this? And then is it this? I don't, oh, or it's this.
Yes. Right.
And then after that, are we like rubbing? And this is really fast. That's what I remember on the routine.
I tell you what, I've got that whole sequence printed out. I will send you a copy of it.
Okay.
And before tomorrow, when we get together, let's get together on the hour, right? I've been kind of lax because Annie and I sit down and have breakfast together, and it's kind of nice for us. But um, let's let's start right at 9 o'clock, so you've got the full hour, and I'll send you that sequence
Okay.
as soon as class is over here, and we can go through that, see if you have any questions.
Okay, there were a couple others that I had on number 7 on my chart
Yeah.
on the single and double leg ascending. Well, I have some notes here, but I don't know if I did them right. Does that start with the hands apart with a Laogong, or is that
I start that one with my Laogong pointed at my Danshan.
oh, and then you go like
And
this?
then, because it's just so easy to go from that, then.
Okay. All right. I think that's kind of my questions. If you send me that sequence on the warm up, then I'll do it better.
I will do that. Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. You know, there's another thing I thought of. I don't know if it works for other people, but you know, if you wanted to start, like if you're having your breakfast and we went from like 9:15 to 10:15, I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but I don't know if that works for other people.
Yeah, it might not. I think often for Catherine, that's a bit of a problem.
Because it's
Uh,
late.
but but we can, yeah, because it's late there. But we can ask and see whether that works. But
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't particularly make any difference to me either. Anyway, okay. So any other questions by anybody?
On the three dantians open and close,
Uh-huh.
this is the one where we're opening up to the
Yes.
edge of the universe,
Yes.
and then our shoulders like roll down, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think tomorrow I'll just do it and then you can critique me.
Sounds good. That sounds good. All right, guys, have yourselves a great day. We'll meet again tomorrow at 9 o'clock,
All
and
right.
Jack
Bye.
will lead the team. Okay, guys. Ciao.